Dr. Hughes, please come on up.
Thank you, Patrick. Tricia and HUD, this is a special day for UAM. And, 4 years when I got here to UAM, we didn't give contracts in athletics. And I think we have entered a new era of UAM athletics, and especially in football. We have seen some great things happen. And Patricia and HUD Jackson are so key to the success of the young men who play football here, and ultimately to the success of UAM. And as I have gotten to know both of them, they bring the qualities to UAM that we want here in our coaches. Caring, keeping young people going in the right direction, guiding, creating an atmosphere of competition with other schools. And I would have to say that as I have watched Coach Jackson, we have become a force in Arkansas in Division II. I also have to share that as we talked football at the system level, we all know what the University of Arkansas has faced this year. And I was always tickled when the system president would say, but the Boll Weevils are doing great. And that's what I love to hear, is in the presence of everybody in the UA system, to hear about the Boll Weevils. A lot of the credit goes to Coach Jackson and his staff. So many of you know that I'm retiring at the end of this month, and I just thought that it was so important before I left to ensure the leadership, the quality leadership in our football program and in UAM athletics. And so I'm pleased and I'm proud that we're doing this on this day. And Coach Jackson, I just want you to know how much you and Patricia have meant to me personally and to UAM collectively, and I thank you for that. And I thank all of the players for what they put in on those Saturdays. I will remember for a long, long time and tell the stories of meeting you guys over at the Bell, and you allowed me to be part of your victory, and I appreciate that. So, Mr. McNeil, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. It's mildly ironic that Thanksgiving was my one-year anniversary here as a director of athletics. And one of my real first opportunities when I got here was to travel to Corsicana, Texas last year for the Corsicana Bowl. And I remember meeting a bunch of donors there, and there's several in this room. They're like, you got to give them a multi-year contract. You got to get them a contract. You got to keep them to stay. And I said, hey, I just got here. I got to figure out what's going on. So, I had some conversations with Coach early on to say, hey, let's see how this thing goes. Let's look what, I need to evaluate and things like that. And I have to thank Coach for really giving me an opportunity to really look at what we were doing with our program. I had an opportunity to go to a lot of practices, of which he knew I was going to be there. There were times when I was able to go to, whether it's the Lassiter Indoor Practice Facility and just checking in and seeing what's going on. But I've been really able to evaluate what they're doing on a day-to-day basis off the field. And I think sometimes that's more critical than always going on the field. And I really appreciate him giving me the ability to do that, knowing that I'm not looking over his shoulder, but just wanting to see what's going on. I think there's a few things that are important for me when I'm looking for a coach. And I think what's nice is there's some qualities that Coach Jackson already possesses that we need here at UAM, and he's brought those. What are those? Passion. He is one of the most passionate people that I have met. Most of the passion that he has been for all of you guys and the student athletes. Every time we talk, he is usually talking about one of you or you as a group and how passionate he is about what your success is, what you're doing on the field, what you're doing in the classroom, or what you're doing off the field. And those things are important to me when I'm looking for a coach. he also has a passion for football, and that certainly is important as you go through. And so those things were always really critical. And I think the last one is he absolutely loves this institution and this community. And when you're trying to build a program, you want to build with somebody that wants to be part of a community and really try to help build in more ways than just winning and losing. And he brings those to the table. I also think, and for me this is really important, is that do they care? Coach Jackson cares about what he's doing. And for me, my favorite quote is, nobody cares what you do or say until they know you care. And I think every day that's what he is trying to do, is make sure that he cares for the student athletes in the institution, and I see that in Coach. The other thing is, it's amazing to me how many people in this community respect the things that Coach has done. Even during some of our times where we might not have been winning as many ball games as we want, he was respected by people in the community, and I think that's critical as we continue to move forward. And lastly, he and his wife, they want to be here. His family wants to be part of this community, and I think that's critical. And so it's exciting that they want to be here, because it's not just what the head coach wants. There's so much more going into it. And I see a lot of his coaches and the wives and families, and it's bigger than just having a profession and coming to work and earning your money and going home. It's about creating a family, and he's done those things. And I also think it's important that, you know, some of the things that I've talked, as I've heard from different people outside of the Monticello community, is how many high school coaches across the state of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, which are really our main recruiting areas, how well respected our coaches and staff are in those areas, and I think that's a testament to what Coach is wanting to do. So those are some of the things that I think he certainly brings to the table. And if you notice, I haven't talked about wins and losses. And I think what's really critical is that there is so much more to what we do than wins and losses. For me, at the end of the day, if our young people graduate, they've grown, they get an opportunity to become great citizens and find jobs, whether that's further in their lives as a football player or moving on to something else, that's what I think is important. When I see people like Dustin Tim coming back and talking about his years here as a student athlete, and now where he is working at a bank and how excited he is about the next chapter, but he always talks about the things I learned while I was here and how I'm implementing those in my life now in the real world or in the professional world. Those things are as important to me as that. Now the question I get is, why a multi-year contract? Well, several things. We've had the opportunity, as Dr. Hughes has said, you know, John Harvey, our baseball coach, and Kyle Fuller, men's basketball coach, we were able to provide them multi-year contracts. And we really did that for many reasons, because we want to capitalize on certain things at this institution. One, we need to build consistency and build consistency in our football program. That's what we want to do. We want young people to know, and our community to know, that we're going to invest in our program the best that we can, and this is one way to be able to do that. Secondly, recruiting. We know that we have to get out there and recruit the best students we can find and the best student athletes we can find. By being able to do this, a lot of young people out there are going to ask, hey, Coach, you going to be there a while? And this provides some consistency with that as well, so that our young people that we're recruiting, they know that there is an investment made by this institution into our football program. So I think that's critical. Community support. Folks, we need your support. And you know what? Right now, there's a lot of support for Coach Jackson and this team and what we're trying to do, and we need to continue to build on that. So that's a very critical piece of this. And lastly, I need a partner in building this program. Just like our other coaches that we're working with, we need a coach that's willing to partner with us to build on this program that's more than, again, just wins and losses. It's building a university and an athletics department and a football program that this community is proud of, that our faculty and staff are proud of, that the athletics department is proud of, and that our student athletes are proud of. So all of those things are important to me when we're looking at why do we want to provide this. So with that, the person you really want to hear from mostly today is Coach Jackson. But before we get into hearing from Coach, probably the most important thing is, I think he wants to sign the contract so we don't run into some of the things that are happening out there for some folks that forgot to sign a contract and now don't have a job and hoping to get paid. So if I could, I'd love to have Dr. Hughes and Head Coach Jackson come up. And we're going to do some quick signs, and we're going to turn it over to Coach Jackson. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you, if you haven't met him yet, our head football coach, Jackson.
First off, so grateful. You know what I do for a living, what these coaches do for a living. There's a lot of guys today that lost their jobs, a lot of guys, because they didn't win. And I understand the whole dynamics of being a college football coach. I really do. When I took this job, it was not to come here and be average. It was to come here to be a winner. And we're getting there. I can tell you that when I first took this job, I was given a bunch of statistics. 19% of guys that graduated that played football, the amount of guys that didn't do the right things off the field and got in trouble. Just things that just sort of shook me a little bit, but I knew as a head coach, we had to fix those things first before we could really focus on things on the field. And honestly, I didn't think it would take us to get to 9 years because we're not where we want to be in regards to wins and losses. We are in a good place when it comes to graduating people. 80% of our football players are graduating from this university. We're not getting in trouble off the field. We're doing good things in our community. We're putting a product on the field that gives us a chance to compete. Again, we were 4-7. 4 years ago, we were 5-6. 3 years ago, we were 6-6. Well, last year, got to a bowl game and we finished 5-6 this year. And when Patrick came to me and said that Dr. Hughes and himself wanted to extend to me a contract of multiple years, I was really taken back because that's not what you do in this profession. And I don't want people to think that they're honoring average, because they're not. They're not honoring average. They're honoring what the future holds for us. This football team, this group of players that we have, the seniors that have gone through this program, they all understood and understand that our future is very, very bright, that we're excited about where we're heading, and that our plan is to compete for a conference championship. Our plan is to get to the national playoffs. And we feel like that we're right there. You could go through this past season and look at some of the games, and you could go back and our players, just like our coaches, always find ways that we could have won that game. Those 4 games that we were in that were really close when it was over, you could always go back and find answers. But instead of finding answers for the past that will make no difference anyway, we're going ahead and planning for the future where there will be a difference. We're excited about where we're at. I'm excited about our athletic director. I'm excited about his staff. We're going to miss Dr. Hughes. We're excited about Dr. Doss. I'm excited about the community, about everything involved in it. But I do want to say this, that I have been fortunate as a man to have people in my life that have made a difference. Some really, really important people. My father, my mother, my siblings, coaches that I work with, my staff, unreal. My staff's unbelievable. But the most important people is my family. My wife of 30 years, who I love dearly. My children, my oldest, who was engaged on Thanksgiving Day here in Monticello, had our first engagement party yesterday. All those things are what really matter to me. And if I give anything back to my players and people that I know, it's that family is important. This program we have is established that way, and we will continue to do it that way as long as I'm the head football coach here. I am grateful to Patricia for allowing me to do what I love, to give up what you went to college for to allow me to do this. But you've always established yourself wherever we went as a person that's caring and loving. And I appreciate that very much. But again, I do want to end on this, and I want my players to hear this, is that we're not here to be average. We're not here to be 5 and 6, 6 and 6, 5 and 6. That's not who we are. That's not who we're going to be. They understand how important our offseason is going to be this spring. They understand how that dynamic is going to be different, that we're going to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and get ourselves ready to compete in 2020, not only just for a winning season, but to be in the talk of a conference championship, because that is the ultimate goal for us. But I want to say this. I learned a lot this past year about a lot of different people. During homecoming, I was able to meet the 1979 team that was honored and inducted into our Hall of Fame. That group of men had so many things to overcome during their time here. Just a group of hard-nosed football players, which is what UAM's about. And I shared that with our football team because it's those teams, it's those guys, it's those football alumni, it's the alumni of UAM all together that's going to help make a difference not only in our football program, but in our whole athletics department. We need everybody on board. We need all support, whatever it may be, ever how you choose to do it. We need every ounce of that support for us as a football program in particular to make that next step. That commitment is so important. This is a university that I love, that I think a lot of, and I would want nothing more than for this program, football, to be successful. We've been fortunate in other sports, and I am so happy and grateful for those sports because they do push us to be great as well. But we're close here, and we need that support to continue. Patrick, I appreciate you. Thank you for this very much, Dr. Hughes. Grateful. More than you ever know. This is big for me, and it's big for my family, and you have made us very happy. So thank you very much. We'll be back. We're excited. We can't wait till next year. We're all in. Eat them up. Thank you.
Woo!
All right, gang, so we can't thank you enough for being here today. What we'd like to do is, if there are any questions from the media or anybody else, we want to give out a few minutes to do that. But I'd like to just, again, as HUD was talking about at the end, it is about this entire community, this campus, our alums, our future students. We are trying to build excellence in all of our programs, and this is just one of those steps, and we'll continue to make that. I would highly encourage you to get out to the men's and women's basketball games this year. There's an incredible product out there. Our baseball, softball program, and golf programs are trending in the right way, and we certainly are coming off one of our better volleyball seasons, and certainly football is trending the right way. We have great things going on at UAM. We're excited to be here, but we do need everybody's support pushing in the right direction. God bless everybody, and go Weebles.
Woo!
All right, so anybody have questions?